In a moment that would forever change his life, Martin fought against the overwhelming grief of losing his wife while also learning to embrace his newborn twins. Facing doubts about their parentage, in a story that will inspire and uplift anyone who has ever loved and lost. In the bustling General Hospital, a profound tragedy unfolded in Sophia's delivery room. The young mother, gripped by intense contractions, clutched the sheets, eyes shut in determined effort. Erratic breathing and glistening sweat betrayed her struggle. Martin, her husband, held her hand, his own strength wavering under palpable fear. "Breathe, please, Sophia, just breathe," he murmured, trying to soothe her. Even as he neared collapse, contractions grew fiercer. Sophia groaned, then screamed. Dr. Perez focused, gave swift instructions to her nursing team: "Push Sophia with all your might. They're almost here." The doctor urged, panting. Sophia nodded, summoning her remaining strength. With a final wrenching scream, the first twin was born, its cry filling the room. Joy was fleeting. Moments later, the second twin also entered the world with a strong cry. Martin watched in astonishment and confusion as nurses cleaned and swaddled the infants. One had fair skin like Sophia, while the other had a darker complexion. Martin was stunned, his mind struggling to grasp what he saw. Before he could question, he noticed a terrifying change. "Sophia, are you okay?" Panic surged in Martin as her eyes closed. Her breathing grew increasingly faint. "Doctor, something's wrong." Martin's voice cracked. Dr. Perez immediately focused on Sophia, shouting orders despite efforts. Sophia's life rapidly receded. Martin knelt beside the bed, clutching her hand, tears streaming. "Sophia, please hold on. Don't leave me," he whispered desperately. Sophia opened her eyes one last time, looking at him with love and sorrow. "Take care of them, Martin. Promise me," she murmured before closing her eyes forever. Martin cried out in anguish, holding Sophia, as nurses gently tried to pull him away. Dr. Perez approached grimly. "I'm so sorry, Martin. We did everything we could." Martin didn't respond, just clung to Sophia. The twins' cries filled the room, unheard by Martin. His world had shattered with indescribable pain. He finally let the nurses take her away. Hours later, Martin sat in the waiting room, gaze lost, unable to process events. Rosa, his mother, rushed in, face worried. "Martin, what happened? Where is Sophia?" Seeing his expression, she understood. "Sophia, she didn't make it, Mom. I don't know what to do," Martin stammered, tears falling again. Rosa hugged him. "I'm so sorry, son. We'll get through this. The children need you now," she said, though her words offered little comfort. The next day, Martin visited the twins sitting by incubators. He looked at the two little ones, still disbelieving they were his. One fair, the other dark. The pain of Sophia's loss was sharp, mixed now with confusion. Rosa approached Martin. "These children need their father. Their skin color doesn't matter. They are part of Sophia and part of you." Martin nodded slowly, but conflict and pain lingered. Looking at them, he knew his life had changed forever, a difficult road ahead. He couldn't yet comprehend. Martin stared at his cold coffee in the silent kitchen. Only faint twin cries echoed. Rosa, his mother, entered. "Martin, you need to eat," she urged, knowing his devastation. "I'm not hungry, Mom. I don't know if I can do this," he confessed. Rosa sat, taking his hand. "This is the hardest, but those children need you. Sophia trusted you. But how when I'm not even sure they're mine? One is white, the other black. How is that possible?" Martin's voice broke. Rosa sighed. "We can't always understand everything, Martin. Their skin color doesn't change. They're your children. I've seen Sophia and you in them. If you need proof, take a test, but don't reject them." Martin nodded, doubt persisting. "I can't do it alone, Mom. I need you to care for them a while, until I can clear my mind." Rosa saw his despair. "Okay, Martin, I'll care for them, but they need their father. Don't take too long." Martin rose, guilty. "Thank you, Mom. I need to go out to think." As he left, Rosa picked up the crying twins, rocking them. Calm down, little ones. Grandma is here." Martin wandered aimlessly, thoughts confused. He passed his mechanic shop, too weak to enter, heading to a bar. "Martin, what are you doing here so early?" asked Pedro, his friend, joining him. "Pedro, Sophia's dead, And I have two babies I don't know are mine. I can't handle this, Martin confessed. Pedro put a hand on his shoulder. I'm sorry, Martin. Hiding won't solve anything. You have to face it. We're here for you. I don't know if I can. It's too much, Martin whispered. Martin, those children need their father. Take your time, but don't abandon them. Martin nodded, feeling understood, but still lost. I'll try, Pedro. But I need time, thanks. He returned hours later, calmer but overwhelmed. Rosa was rocking the twins. Mom, thank you for everything. You're doing more than I should ask, Martin said, gratitude and pain in his voice. Rosa looked at him tenderly. Martin took one twin, feeling an undeniable connection. That night the twins slept, but Martin stayed awake, grappling with thoughts. The next day Rosa sat with a twin, noting the baffling contrast between the fair-skinned baby and his dark-skinned brother. Hush, my love, she whispered. Unanswered question lingered, amplified by neighborhood whispers. Have you seen Martin's twins? One doesn't seem to be his, she overheard. Rosa took a deep breath, trying to ignore it, knowing she had to be strong. She confided in Marta. People questioned Sophia's fidelity and Martin's paternity. Marta held her hand. Rumors are just words, you know, Sophia. Genetics can be peculiar, and they are your grandchildren. Rosa felt some ease. Thank you, Marta, but it's hard when Martin doubts too. Marta looked with empathy. Martin is hurting. Give him time. Keep loving those babies. Rosa returned with renewed resolve, caring for the twins, ignoring doubts. Yet the questions never vanished. The neighborhood was close-knit. Martin and his family now faced critical eyes. Martin went to his shop, but worries consumed him. Martin, focus. You can't keep going like this, Pedro advised. I know, but I can't stop thinking about everything. It's chaos. Pedro put down his tools. We're all here. You need to handle this. Seek support. You can't carry this alone. Martin nodded. You're right. At home, Rosa faced constant demands, fatigue set in, exacerbated by curious neighbors. In the park, she met Maria. Rosa, how are you managing with the differences? Maria asked. Rosa kept composure. Maria, these children are my grandchildren. I love them no matter what. Maria nodded, abashed. You're right, people talk, you know. Yes, I know, Rosa firmly replied. My priority is these children. I don't care what people say. Martin returned home, weary. Rosa awaited him. Martin, we need to talk, she said. The rumors won't vanish. Face this, get the test, but don't let it consume you. Your children need you, Rosa firmly stated. Martin nodded. I will, Mom. Until then, I focus on them and the shop. Rosa smiled. That's all we can do, Martin, one day at a time. The following days were difficult, but Martin and Rosa found a rhythm. DNA tests were underway. Martin tried to be present for his children, supported by Pedro. The neighborhood still gossiped, but some began to show support. Marta organized a meeting. Now is the time to unite, not judge. Rosa and Martin need our support. Marta's message resonated. Attitudes shifted, yet Martin felt trapped in pain. Doubts mingled with Sophia's loss. Staring at his cold coffee, he felt crushed. One afternoon after the workshop, he found Rosa rocking the twins. He watched them. Doubt fueled by pain persisted. Mom, I can't go on, he whispered. I need to get out, time to think. Rosa looked concerned. Martin, you can't leave them. They need you. Martin shook his head. Guilty. I can't do this, not with so much doubt. I'm no good for them. Rosa sighed. What will you do? I'm going to my grandparents' house. I need to be alone, away from all this for a while, he replied. Rosa nodded. I understand, but promise you'll come back. They need their father. I'll come back, Mom. Just time to clear my mind. Thank you, Martin said, hugging her. That night Martin packed, said goodbye, driving to the abandoned house. He felt relief and sadness. The house was old, dusty, full of memories. He settled in for days. He tried repairs, but pain and loneliness became unbearable. Drinking was his escape. Each night he sat on the porch with cheap liquor, remembering Sophia, laughter, dreams. Tragedy. He felt overwhelmed by guilt and doubts. Were the twins his? Had Sophia hidden something? But also, what if they were? Uncertainty consumed him. Martin was alone in his grandparents' house, his refuge for almost a year. The night was silent save for his ragged breathing, and old wood creaks. Empty bottles lay around him, silent witnesses to nights of pain. He decided to set the drink aside, letting memories wash over him. He closed his eyes, seeing Sophia, Her contagious laughter, vibrant energy, he recalled their first meeting dates, and wedding their future plans were hopeful shattered by the birth. Tears rolled down his face as he emptied another bottle. I'm sorry, Sophia. I haven't been the man you needed, the father our children deserve. The front door creaked. Pedro, Martin's friend, walked in, determined and concerned. Martin, I can't watch you keep doing this, Pedro said. I can't stand by while you destroy yourself. Martin sighed. Pedro, you don't know how hard it is every time I think about Sophia. I'm crushed by guilt and doubt. Pedro sat opposite. Yes, I do. It's not easy, but Sophia was strong, faithful. She loved you. She trusted you with those children. But what if they're not mine, Pedro? What if it was all a lie? Martin's voice trembled. Pedro shook his head. Sophia wasn't like that. Find the truth, do the DNA test, but you can't keep running, hiding, drowning in drink. Martin looked at his friend. Pedro's words resonating. What if I can't handle the truth? Then we'll deal with it together. But not knowing is destroying you, Martin. You can't keep distancing yourself from your children and your life, Pedro said firmly. Martin nodded, a spark of hope igniting. You're right, I need to know the truth. Pedro smiled. Good. I'll help you. The decision made, they arranged the DNA tests. Martin felt fear and relief. He was finally facing his fears. When Pedro left, Martin stayed alone, but with a different feeling. He approached a photo of Sophia and the twins. Sophia, I'm so sorry, but I promise I'm going to make things right for you and for our children, he whispered, tears falling with renewed determination. 2 weeks later, determined to return home, Martin climbed to the attic to pack. It was full of dust and forgotten memories. An old, surprisingly heavy suitcase caught his attention. Curiosity led him to pry open its rusty lock. Inside he found letters, photographs, and a small chest. He first looked through photos. His grandfather as a teenager with a white woman and a black man. Martin had never heard details of his great-grandparents. He sat processing the sight. He read a letter from his great-grandfather to his great-grandmother, describing their life, love, and challenges due to their interracial marriage. Dear Helena, it began. These times are hard, but your love gives me strength. Our children must know our love overcame all barriers, and that family is the most important thing. Tears welled. His family's history was more complex and rich than he imagined. He read more letters, piecing together his heritage. In the chest, he found more photos and personal items. Everything indicated his great-grandparents were strong, brave people who faced great challenges for love. This made him think of Sophia, his love for her equally strong despite doubts. Martin decided to share this with Rosa and the twins. Later, he gathered the items and called Rosa. Mom, I found something in the attic you need to see. Photos and letters from our great-grandparents. I never knew Grandpa was the son of an interracial couple. A long silence. Rosa responded, voice trembling. Martin, Grandpa was always reserved about his family. He promised never to speak of the past to protect us. He wanted us to live without prejudice. Mom, this changes everything. We need to know our history, especially now. Martin insisted. I know, son, we'll talk more when you come back, but please come back soon. We need you here. Rosa replied, sadness and hope mixed. I'll come back, Mom, I promise, Martin said, renewed. He spent the day packing. Reflecting the photos and letters seemed a key to understanding himself and his children. That night, instead of drinking, he read about his great-grandparents' forbidden love and struggles. The next day, with the suitcase of revelations, Martin set off home. He thought about sharing his discoveries and how it might change his view of his own children. It wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to face the past to build a better future. Arriving home, Rosa greeted him with a hug. We missed you so much, she said, tears in her eyes. I missed you too, Mom, and I have so much to tell you, Martin responded, excited and nervous. They sat in the living room. Martin began unveiling photos and letters. Rosa handled them with reverence, studying each. I can't believe Grandpa never told us this, Rosa said, voice breaking. Maybe he thought he was protecting us, Martin suggested. After their conversation, Martin went upstairs to the twins' room, heart pounding. He saw them awake in their cribs playing. Both looked at him, eyes curious. He approached slowly, observing details he'd overlooked. Their smiles like Sophia's, their gestures. He knelt. One twin reached out. "Hello, little ones," he said, voice soft, full of emotion. "I'm Daddy." The lighter-skinned twin smiled, babbling. The darker-skinned one looked with curiosity and shyness. Martin noticed a small mole on the second twin's neck, exactly where he had one. "It's incredible," he murmured. "You're part of me." Of Sophia. The following days were crucial. The day after his arrival, Martin and Rosa took the twins for the DNA test. The wait was tense, but Martin knew he needed the truth. A week later, he got the call. With trembling hands, he answered. "Mr. Martin, we have the results. The twins are your biological children." The voice said. Martin felt relief and regret, having wasted so much time. He hung up, processing. Then he went straight to the twins' room. "Their mind," Martin said, tears in his eyes, looking at Rosa playing with them there. "My children." Rosa smiled, tears of joy. "I always knew it." Martin now be the father they need. Martin moved back in with Rosa, determined to reconnect. He spent hours playing, caring for them, learning their personalities. The twins, shy at first, gradually accepted him, laughing as he talked. Days later, Martin took them to Sophia's grave, a necessary visit for closure. They arrived on a sunny morning. Martin carried one twin, Rosa the other. At Sophia's headstone, Martin knelt, placing a hand on the cold stone. "Sophia, we're here," he said, voice breaking. "I wanted you to meet our children. They are beautiful. I promise I will take care of them, honor your memory, and be the father they deserve." Tears rolled down his cheeks as he watched the twins play with flowers. Rosa placed a hand on his shoulder. Martin took a deep breath, feeling a large weight lift. "I miss you every day, Sophia, but I promise the children will know who you are and how much you loved them." They stayed a while, enjoying the tranquility. Martin felt a peace he hadn't known. He knew much was still to do, but for the first time he was ready to face the future. They returned home. Martin continued dedicating himself to his children. Each day was a new challenge, an opportunity to build a strong, loving relationship. As time passed, he became a constant, caring figure, sharing laughter, games, and special moments. The years passed swiftly. The twins, now 6, were ready for school. Martin and Rosa had built a loving home, but challenges began. The first week was difficult. Despite enthusiasm, the twins met classmates who didn't understand why brothers had different skin colors. At recess, children approached with curious looks and cruel comments. "Why do you look so different from your brother?" a boy asked. Diego, the lighter-skinned twin, looked at Daniel, then firmly replied, "Because we're special. We're brothers, and that's all that matters." Daniel nodded, supported by his brother, but the words hurt home. Martin noticed something was wrong. The twins were quiet. "What happened at school today?" Martin asked. Diego spoke. "Some kids said bad things. They said we shouldn't be brothers because we look different." Martin felt a knot in his stomach. "That's not right. You are brothers, perfect just as you are. We'll figure this out." That night, Martin and Rosa discussed speaking with Principal Morales to educate students about diversity. The next day they met her. Mrs. Morales was sympathetic. "I understand your concern. All children must feel accepted. We can organize workshops," she said. Martin nodded, relieved. "Thank you. It's crucial they feel they belong, that being different is to celebrate." Mrs. Morales coordinated workshops. Experts were invited. The twins participated, sharing their story. Over time, the school atmosphere changed. Cruel children showed curiosity and respect. Diego and Daniel became diversity advocates, gaining friends, but challenges continued. In high school, new prejudices emerged. Hurtful comments resurfaced. One afternoon, after a tough day, Diego and Daniel sat sad. "Why can't people just accept us?" Daniel asked desperately. Diego nodded. "It's exhausting fighting all the time." Martin joined them. "I know it's hard, guys, but every time you face these challenges, you're making a difference. You're teaching people to be better." Rosa hugged them. "You have the power to change things, and you're not alone. We're here to support you always." That night, the twins discussed dreams. They decided to study law to fight injustice and prejudice for everyone. "I want to be a lawyer and help people understand we are all equal." Diego said. "Me too," added Daniel. I want to make a difference so no one else goes through what we did." Martin and Rosa felt pride and emotion. They knew the brothers had the strength to make a real change. "We are so proud of you," Martin said, hugging them. "And we know you're going to achieve great things." It was a hot afternoon at Martin's workshop. Martin was repairing an engine when Laura, an investigative journalist, called his name. "I'm Laura from El Diario Nacional. I've heard about your story and think it could inspire many." Martin was puzzled. "What could interest you so much about my life?" Laura smiled. "I've heard about your twins and how you discovered your origins. I want to tell that story. It can have a big impact." Martin sighed. "It's a long, complicated story. It began when I found old letters and photos of my great-grandfather, a black man who married a white woman in difficult times. They faced racism, but their love was strong." Laura took notes as Martin narrated. He spoke of understanding his roots and how it changed his view of his children and life. "That's an incredible story," Laura said. "Many could be inspired." "Considered writing a book?" Martin shook his head. "Never. I'm not a writer." Laura looked determined. "You don't need to be. You tell your story. I'll help. The world needs to hear this." Martin considered. Sharing was intimidating, but could make a difference. "All right, Laura, let's do it. I want people to know about my family and what we've overcome." For months, Martin and Laura worked on the book Roots of Valor. Martin wrote at night. Laura structured the narrative. It was exhausting but therapeutic. He felt he was honoring Sophia and his ancestors. The book was ready. Martin was nervous for publication day, but proud. The reaction was overwhelming. It quickly became a bestseller, praised for honesty and perseverance. Martin's story resonated with many facing prejudice. One night, Martin was home with Rosa and the teenage twins. They read book reviews. Diego, smiling, looked at his father. "Dad, this book is changing lives." "I'm proud of you." Daniel nodded. "You've shown us what it means to be strong and brave. We want to follow in your footsteps." Martin felt moved. "Thank you guys. This book is as much yours as mine. Seeing how our story helps others is incredible." Rosa, with tears of pride, added, "Your grandfather and great-grandparents would be so proud. You've honored their memory." Martin felt deep peace. With the book's success, Martin began receiving invitations to speak at schools and events. Each time he felt he was building a bridge, inspiring others. Martin was nervous preparing dinner for Laura, setting the table. He reflected on their achievements since the book. His life had taken an unexpected, gratifying turn. The doorbell rang. Laura smiled, holding wine. "Hi, Martin. Thanks for inviting me." "Thank you for coming," Martin replied. They talked about the book, their lives, their children. Laura, divorced mother of a teenager, shared her experiences. "I've always admired how you've handled everything." "Martin, you're an inspiration." Martin smiled. "You're an inspiration too, Laura. Without you, I couldn't have told my story." Conversation flowed easily as night went on. Mutual interest became evident. They laughed, shared anecdotes, feeling more connected. Days passed. They continued meeting. What began as professional friendship deepened. A few months later, they were officially dating. Rosa and the twins supported Martin's relationship. "Dad, Laura is great. We're glad to see you happy." Diego said, "Yes, Dad, Laura is amazing." Daniel added. Rosa also approved. "Martin, Laura is a wonderful woman. I'm glad to see you found someone." Years passed, and the twins entered law school, fulfilling their dream of fighting discrimination. Graduation was emotional. Diego and Daniel, in caps and gowns, took the stage. The crowd fell silent as Diego began. "Today is special. We've worked hard, and it was impossible without our family's support," he said, looking at his father. "Laura and Rosa, we faced many challenges because of our differences, but those experiences strengthened us and gave us a mission." Daniel continued, "We dedicate our lives to fighting discrimination and promoting acceptance of differences." Their words resonated, moving many to tears. Martin, Laura, and Rosa felt deeply proud. "They've made it." Rosa whispered, "Yes, Mom, they've made it." Martin replied, squeezing Laura's hand. Graduated, the twins opened their own law office in their community. From day one, they committed to supporting locals against injustice, primarily fighting discrimination and racism. Motivated by their own experiences, Their first case was an immigrant family unjustly evicted Diego, and Daniel worked tirelessly presenting evidence arguing in defense. They won, securing justice and establishing their reputation. We are here to help everyone regardless of origin or appearance, Diego told local press. Our goal is to create a place where everyone feels accepted and valued. Daniel added, we know what it's like to be judged. We want to ensure no one else goes through that. Martin, Laura, and Rosa watched with pride as the twins transformed their community. They knew the journey was long, but each obstacle strengthened their determination. One day in their office, Daniel turned to Martin. Dad, everything we've achieved is thanks to you. You showed us how to be strong and resilient. And thanks to you too, Laura. Diego added, you helped us understand the importance of telling our story. Martin smiled, moved. I am incredibly proud. You have turned our struggles into a force for good. Keep doing what you're doing, and you will change the world. With family, friends, and community support, Martin saw a bright future for his twins. He knew despite challenges, love and unity could overcome any obstacle. Martin's family had become an example of resilience and strength, inspiring others. What was your emotional takeaway from Martin's journey? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one.